Hi, I'm Leslie,
I'm Stephanie.
and we are the Hand Readers Guild. And we're here today to talk about a particular mark in your hand that is, what would you call it?
One of the big ones. One
Yeah,
of the big markings.
it's a very powerful marker. But
Yep.
before we get to that, and before we even tell you what that is, I just want to tell you a little bit about the Hand Readers Guild. We founded, I've been a hand reader for close to 30 years. It'll be 30 years in 2022. And Stephanie, I don't know how long you've been doing it, but a long time as well.
20 years this year.
Yeah. So, and we both just love what your hands can do for you when you have your hands read. And so we have decided to join together so that we can spread the word about the benefits of hand analysis and how it can help you become the best version of yourself and to get past some of your struggles, because it has answers for that in there as well. So we've started this YouTube channel, and we've also got a Facebook group right here, which you can join if you're interested in learning about hand reading. We have a lot of good diagrams in there, and you'll be able to watch these videos there, or you can watch them again on our YouTube channel, which is called Hand Readers Guild. And we would love it if you enjoy these, that you subscribe, or you join our group, or you like our Facebook page, and we have links to those down below. We're working on our website, which will have lots of other good information and goodies for you to download. That's coming. Trust me. I know we keep saying it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
And the other thing I want to say is that we do these videos live and we do not edit them afterwards. So our dogs bark, our neighbors make noise.
Kids come in.
Yeah, things happen. So we just want you to laugh along with us and enjoy life as it happens as we teach you about hand reading. So today we are here to talk about, that's the wrong slide, the medical stigmata. See, we told you things happen. So we're here to talk about the medical stigmata. That is a big deal mark to have in your hand. It is known as the mark of the gifted healer. And it is also considered a one of many gift markings that you can have. And we will talk to you about a little bit about what a gift marking is in a minute. But first, I want to show you what the medical stigmata looks like. So the medical stigmata is 6 or more parallel vertical lines on the mound of mercury. And the mound of mercury is found under the mercury finger, which is your pinky. Yes, your pinky. Thank you. So it's, as I mentioned, it's the gift marking indicating the person is a gifted healer. It is the simplest definition of the gifted healer is a person who is here to be a catalyst for growth. And we're talking about the growth of others, although they are definitely a catalyst for their own growth as well.
And self-awareness, yes.
And self-awareness. So I like to say that because the mercury finger, the pinky, is your finger that has to do with communication, both inner and outer, as well as the finger that deals with our human relationships, how we communicate with each other, that this is a gift marking that combines both insightful inner communication with keen observations of human behavior and relations. And that is what makes someone a gifted healer. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about gift markings and what they are as in a general sense. So a gift marking is kind of like what it says it is. It means you have a gift. And the nature of a gift being what it is, you have to give it. If you're gifted, you don't get to just save it for yourself.
Right. You have to spread the word.
You have to share it in the world. Now, if you don't share it in the world, there are consequences.
Yes, there are.
So a lot of people get really excited when I do readings for them and I tell them they have a gift, until I tell them that there's literally like an unconscious contract with the universe, and you have to live up to all of the requirements of your contract. It's like having a real live contract for a job, or when you're having like the plumber come and work in your house and you have a contract for the plumbing. There's things that you have to live up to, or there are consequences, there are penalties. So a gift marking can show up in a lot of different ways. I think, Stephanie, you and I both consider the medical stigmata to be the most demanding, I would call it.
Yes, I would say yes. That is absolutely correct. Because it's not only in one area, it is in many areas, and it involves other people.
It involves other people, and there are so many requirements that come with it. And I think it requires fairly advanced skills, which we're going to talk about today. So now we said it's 6 or more lines. And you can look at someone's hand or your own hand, and maybe you have 3 lines or 4 lines or 5 lines. These lines still indicate that you have some skills in this area, but it is not elevated to the gift level, which means you don't have the contract. So you can use it. You don't have to use it.
Right.
You likely use it. You might use it wrong. Which we're going to talk about the wrong ways to use it today. But you're not required to use it in the same way as if you have 6 or more. And trust me, I've seen many, many hands, and we're going to show you at least one today that has a lot more than 6. A lot more. So this is a hand that'll show you a little bit more what it looks like. Now, ideally, we want all of these vertical parallel lines to be the same length. Rarely does the hand follow instructions like this. These lines, in case you haven't watched any of our other videos, they're put there by your brain. Your brain sends more nerve endings down to your hands than to any other part of your body. And the lines in your hands actually are a reflection of how your brain is wired. So you might be trying to tell your brain that you want to be kind of more anal about how you draw the lines.
If only.
Right. But that generally doesn't happen. The brain does what the brain wants to do. So, but this is a pretty good example. And you can see they're not super evenly spaced, and all of them are pretty well, almost the same length, except maybe that one kind of in the middle. But this is a pretty good example.
Yeah, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad example. So as Stephanie mentioned earlier, people with the gifted healer mark are considered to have self-awareness skills that they can use to help others get better in their self-awareness. Now, you and I had this discussion before we started the video, is that it's often said that the medical stigmata doesn't show up in the hand until someone is in their 30s, but you've said that you've seen it in the hands of children.
Children, teenagers.
And I know you've done a lot more looking at the hands of children and teenagers because you were doing whole families for a while.
Right, yes. And in my own children, and yes, and their friends and, and families, yes.
Right. So one of the reasons we say it tends to show up a little later is because these lines are indicators of certain types of life experiences that aren't, let's just say, not the most enjoyable.
Correct.
So when you see them in younger people.
You had to go through some things to get those.
Right. We're going to talk about that. This is you earned those. You earned them. They're not just like, hey, let's just, join, draw these because I want them. Right. You earn them and your brain goes, okay, we're marking that.
Marking that down.
Right. So here we have, I also wanted to mention that the gifted healer mark is the only gift marking that requires you do this as your paid job. You're saying nothing. I know you're saying nothing because you have this in your hand.
Coming out of my ears.
Yeah, your face. That was very funny. You went so silent. It's funny to me because I know she happens to have this on her left hand. I used to have 6 lines on each of my hands, and over time, because your lines in your hands will change constantly, I have somehow managed to erase 1 line on each hand, and I'm down to 5.
Yay! I have them on both hands as well.
And you do?
Yes, there's more than 6.
So I'm actually kind of happy I'm down below 6 because
she's got the talent.
I get to use it if I want to and how I want to, but I don't have the requirements and or the contract. But I did earlier, and I think I kind of fulfilled my contract.
I think so too.
Yeah, Stephanie knows a little bit about my life.
Yes.
I think I got what I needed to out of that and shared what I needed to with the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm off to find more fun ways to use this skill. So the gifted healer's job is to be the facilitator for positive change. So what do we mean by being the facilitator? They are not here to do the work for you.
Oh, it's so hard not to do the work.
Right. Your job is not to stand there and go, hey, that person's broken. I know I can fix them. Not your job.
Not your job.
And this is the way the gifted healer goes wrong most often. Don't you think? Yeah.
I do like to fix people, but it doesn't work. But
no. And the gifted healer is also not here to determine what the healed state looks like for another person. You might be able to go, oh, they should really be more like this. Mm-hmm. But you know what?
It don't work.
Yeah, they get to determine what the healed state looks like. So you're just here to hold the space.
Yep.
As the other person is doing the work. Mm-hmm. This is like an incredible skill that takes a lot of time to perfect. And the other piece about this that's really, really almost the most important one is you should never, if you have this mark, never, ever, ever, ever try to heal I know you can't say that enough. Never try to heal a friend, a loved one, or a family member. And True. Some of you have made that mistake, I bet, and know what goes wrong. It's not. Yeah, I don't know anybody who's ever tried to do that and it's gone right.
Right. Yep. That is true. Very, very true.
Yep. It's the possibilities for messing up are endless in those situations.
Yep.
Right. So if you are on the journey of life with a medical stigmata on your hand, the skill you most have to develop is trust. So this is one of those hands where I wanted to point out, and you might have to get close to your screen to see it because the lines are so fine. Mm-hmm. But this is a hand that has way more than 7. I lost count. Can you even count how many? No. I mean, like I said, you have to get a little close to the screen to see it. But there's so many fine ones, and then there's a little carved a little more deeper as it heads off the side of the hand. But it's what did you call it? I think you said it looks like rain coming down.
Yeah. It's so much information that you just don't even know what to do with it. So you're drowning.
Drowning. Yeah. Yes, rain.
Yep.
So you have to become good at surrender skills, which is another way of saying letting go.
Vulnerability.
So, right. And also not being attached to outcome. That's another.
Ooh, that's so hard.
That's another piece of surrender, right? Just
right.
However it goes, it goes.
Yes. You can see other people's potential, but you can't make them do it.
Right. Right. Now, my teacher, Richard Unger, used to call this, learning surrender skills. He used to refer to it as leaping into the void.
Oh, I hate that.
Because you don't know. You don't know where you're going. You don't know how it's going to turn out.
Like the Fool card in the Tarot.
Yeah,
take a leap of faith. You just got to jump.
Exactly. Exactly. So you have no security net underneath you. You have to move forward anyway. And usually we're talking about on a large scale basis, not just those little jumps.
You have to have faith that it will all work out.
Right.
And whatever kind of being or thing is there to help you. Your universe, whatever you consider.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It's a spiritual kind of thing.
Right. And you also have to be willing to take the risk that it might not work out.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that net, right?
Exactly.
There's no guarantee. No guarantee. Think of it as jumping from a burning building. You're not going to stay in the burning building.
Right.
You're going to jump.
Going to jump.
Right. Okay. So the other major challenge, here's another hand that's got a lot going on besides that medical stigmata. Yes. The other major challenge for people who have a medical stigmata is having to overcome one huge personal crisis after another. Way more than the average person encounters. Think about these. Remember how like when you were a kid, you would draw hash marks on the blackboard? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 across. Except these don't get the cross line. It's just they keep going.
Well, this person tried to do a cross line.
Yes, they did.
Normally, it doesn't look like that.
Normally, it doesn't. But so this person, these things, the kinds of crises that we call it the heal or heal thyself crisis. This is why I wrote heal or heal thyself across the top. This is how you learn your skills that you get to use to help other people by doing it on yourself first. Would you say you've done that, Stephanie?
I have done that. And I've also had where I've been doing readings, and every single reading is telling me the exact same message. Different hands, 12 people, the same exact thing. Be more sensitive, be more communicative, be more, whatever the message is, it's always the same thing. And I'm like,
and it's the messages for you, right?
Exactly. And I'm like, well, your reading is actually for me, but we're going to read this together.
Right.
And
so,
it's helped quite a bit, actually. It's a mirror. This is a mirror kind of thing.
Exactly. So the kinds of heal or heal thyself crises that a medical stigmata owner might deal with are major illnesses, betrayals, tragedies.
Yes.
And here's my favorite, major relationship issues. Because as we mentioned before, the mercury mound, the pinky area, and the mound underneath it are the area of your hand that rules interpersonal relationships. So this is very commonly the kind of crises you deal with.
Yes. Yep.
Been there. Now this person clearly is working on relationship issues, because on the heart line, look at all those dangling X's hanging off the heart line.
Right underneath all that medical stigmata. Yep.
Right. That heart line's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess. And the X's are generally betrayals. So they're probably relationship betrayals.
Right.
Yeah. So
a couple of them.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in this hand that talks about the crises. And so if you came to either one of us for a reading and you have the medical stigmata, there's a good chance we can look in your hand and easily pinpoint what kind of crises you are here to be learning from. Okay. Now, use it wisely or suffer the penalty. You're laughing. You're giggling.
Yes. I'm using it wisely now, I hope. I'm not going to.
Oh, yeah. So we talked earlier about the nature of gift markings, and that it comes with a contract that lists the criteria for how you should be using your gift marking in the world. And this is true for every gift marking, not just the medical stigmata. And we'll probably do another video on gift markings in general. We haven't done it yet. We did do one on stars in the hand, and some of those stars are gift markings. So if you're curious, you can learn a little bit more about it by watching that video. But in general, all of the gift markings come with a contract that says, here's the parameters under which we consider this proper use. And so you need to be using it wisely, and you need to use it, period. As we mentioned in the early part of this video, if you're not giving the gift, you also end up with some kind of mess. Now, I kind of don't necessarily like the word penalty because it really sounds like a punishment. So a lot of times when I'm doing a reading for someone, the way I like to explain it is to say that it's a nudge from the universe to get you back on path with your contract. But I also like to mention to people that if you ignore those nudges, those little taps on your shoulder that says, hey, you're not sharing your gift, they get harder. And they can eventually, yes, and they can eventually graduate to 2x4 over the head status.
Right. Yep. Had a couple of those.
Yep, I have too. I've gotten hit by the psychic 2x4.
Yes. Ugh.
So now,
a couple of times.
One of the reasons we like to say that the medical stigmata is the granddaddy of gift markings is that the penalty is pretty awful.
Yeah, it is.
So the penalty for not using this properly, and remember, we mentioned that some of the improper ways to use this is to try and heal your spouse or your children, or to try and decide how somebody should heal themselves.
Right.
Or to do it for somebody instead of just holding the space while they do the work themselves.
Because you can never heal somebody. They have to do it within.
They have to do it within. Right. So tell them what happens.
Well, you can lose your spouse, or relationships dissolve, or the trust between two people it's really thin lines, or it's usually the loss of a relationship.
Right. We call it intimacy breakdown.
Yeah.
Intimacy breakdown.
Breakdown.
And if you want to use more plain English with that, shitty relationships. Pardon my French.
Yep. Relationships that you work so hard at because you're doing all the work, and then it goes, wait, what?
Right. If you're trying to fix your intimate partner all the time, you know what you're going to attract? Broken partners.
Right. Yep.
Until you learn the lesson. Of the lesson of the medical stigmata, which says, don't try to fix them.
And then, what are you looking at that's broken? It must be something within yourself, and that's where you learn to fix it.
That's correct. That's right. You're looking to add another one of those hash marks on your medical stigmata.
No, erase the hash mark. Just erase it.
I erased one on each of my hands. I'm happy.
It's taken quite a long time to even get to that point, so I'm very happy I've at least reached that.
Yeah, well, you know what I went through. I'm not going to share it in this video, but it took me many years.
I'll just say that when I started charging for hand readings is when things started to work out better.
Yes, because that is
That's what you're supposed to do.
One of the requirements of the medical stigmata is that besides being the focus of your life and your work, it must be paid work.
Paid work. You don't do it for free. If you're doing it for free, it's either sacrifice or servitude.
Right. Paid work. And what happens is if you're doing it all day long and it's your paid work, when you go home, if you're doing work in a healthy way, you leave that stuff at the office.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't bring it home to the family.
Yep.
And that saves you from intimacy breakdown.
Yes, it does.
Right. So, anything else we want to say about medical stigmata before we sign off today?
It's a little bit more about personal growth. but also helping other people with what you've learned about yourself and giving them a bit of your gift, sharing.
And I think I also want to mention that we just touched on some of what goes on with the medical stigmata. Yes. It's an even bigger subject than this.
These were bullet points.
These are these are bullet points.
Literally bullet points.
You know, it changes a little bit for each person that has it based on the other things in their hands. Like we pointed out that one who had the betrayals.
Right.
So
lots of other things can come into effect with that particular reading. I mean, gift marking.
Yes. This is just the highlights. So when we talk about it being a very intense mark that requires a lot of you, we're not kidding. All right. So, like I said, I think we will be doing a video on gift markings in the near future. It may not be next week, but we definitely are going to talk more about that and about individual ones as we go along. If you want to learn a little bit more about gifts from the videos we've done already, definitely check out our video on stars in the hands, because several of those stars do qualify as gift markings, and we've touched on it there. I want to remind you that if you are interested in learning more, you can always join our Facebook group, the Hand Readers Guild Forum, and ask questions there. You can leave comments or questions below our video in the group, on our page, or on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we hope you will join us and come along to learn more, and that you enjoy when we make mistakes and laugh. We had no barking dogs in this video, but some of them have yours and mine.
Right.
Right.
I think they got it out before we started today.
Yes. Yes.
That's nice. It was nice of them.
Yes. The extra treats after the video's over.
Yeah.
So thank you again for joining us today, and we hope to see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.